time, Kenny, I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes or discussion, a motion would be in order to approve those as submitted in your packets.
So moved. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. I'd like the court's permission to amend the agenda to include policy and procedure changes at the detention center. Doug's been working a long time on this, and I think he's talked to each and every one of you all, and you've seen what he's proposing. So I would like the court's permission. I don't think we need a vote. Just is everybody okay with amending the agenda to include Doug with the policy and procedure changes?
Yep.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
Okay, at this time then I'd ask Glenna to give us the treasurer's report.
The report should be in your packets. As of 12/31/2011, we ended the quarter with a balance of $6,279,456.70. Right now, we are halfway through our fiscal year. Our goal is to be at least 50%. Our revenues for our general fund was at 61.3%. Our expenditures were at 33.4%. Our road fund revenues were at 64.7%, and our expenditures are at 48.6%. Our jail fund revenues were 54.3%, and the expenditures are 50.2%. CSEP fund revenues were 44.5%, the expenditures were 41.7%. And our 911, the revenues are at 51.9%, and our expenditures are at 47%. So all of our, except for CSEP, which is, can't really go by that 50% because they just spend, and it's all federal pass-through. But all of our funds are at or above 50% on their revenues, and all of our expenditures are at 50% or below. So we are right on target with our budget.
Any questions for Glenna?
About the same as it was last year.
And we do have our auditors are here. They started on Monday. They'll be here for the next 3 weeks. So we'll currently be dealing with that.
That's enjoying.
It's
Okay.
really not bad. They're good.
They're good, they really are. And as they tell me in each exit audit, they wish that all the counties were as prepared and documented as Madison County, and I have to give Glenn and her staff credit for that. We'll go on into the order of business now, and we've got a couple people here. Strider Deaver is here with Forestry Service, and Strider, if you want to come up, glad to have you. I think this is your second year coming up talking to us now, or
Probably. This is a different subject than I was here last year about, though.
Yeah.
I'll come later for that Arbor Day stuff. I have money for you. It's not going to tip your scales as far as 6 million goes, but every year the county pays a timberland protection tax that's assessed at 2 cents per acre for privately owned forest land. So there's approximately 36,000 private forest land acres in Madison County. You guys always do a good job keeping that paid, and I've discussed it's usually paid out of your general fund. And I've got a check to reimburse that from money I collected from a responsible party that caused a forest fire. And it was a large fire on Owsley Fork, would have been last fiscal year. But I've got $2,547.74. And the guy responsible for that was, he was very responsible. A week after the fact, he wrote me a check for the whole cost that the Division of Forestry incurred from that. And that money goes back to the counties that keep their timberland protection tax paid. So
Okay.
I'd like to present that check to you all, and I've already got it signed for from the treasurer, and I'll give it back to her.
Strider, we appreciate it. It's good to
You're
see
welcome.
you, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Arbor Day.
Yeah, I'll be back for that. Our spring fire season is coming up the 15th of February. Everybody be careful with fires so that I'm not knocking on your door trying to collect from you.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
How you like the new job? Is it going okay?
Oh, it's not a new job to me anymore.
Well, no.
I'm still nervous up here in front of the microphone, but keep me in the woods, I'm good.
You get over that, but don't be no stranger anytime you got money to bring.
Well, it's, the state budget is We got less than you all do in the county, I do believe.
Well, I don't know about that now.
But I don't have much free money, but there were 55 counties that received a check back. Madison County, I'm proud to say, was the second highest check in the state. So Pike County had 3,000 something, I think.
Great.
Appreciate your job you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
I
just-
hope to keep pushing that fact, because it's a pretty good deterrent for someone to have to, pay up for. This was a complete accident, but he took responsibility for it.
Good deal. Just drop the check off with Glenn as you walk by.
Well, thanks a lot,
We
guys.
appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Middle of the month, he's okay.
Madison County Fire Department, Chief Cox is here to give us his 2011 year-end report.
Yeah, I just want to give you a short report about what we've done in 2011. Pretty proud of the things that we've done. I guess first thing I want to do is thank the volunteer departments. We got 5 of them that we work with closely. These guys are very dedicated. They put a lot of time in. Get out 2 o'clock in the morning, fight fires for free. That's pretty good stuff. They stay pretty active. I'll give you a few examples of things that they've done or do. I guess one of the bigger things that they've done is Whitehall volunteer and Union City volunteers. They lowered their rating from a 9 to a 6.9, which is very huge. Most people will tell you it's about a 50% cut on your insurance, so they should put some money back in some people's pockets. I know Whitehall, they put in a Homeland Security grant. They got $40,000 to put in a generator for the in case these ice storms or things like that. They can still have power and still be able to run their station. Red Lake Volunteer, they got a tanker truck, $75,000. It would come from the AFG grant, is a Congressman Chandler grant deal like that. Union City, they refurbished their brush truck. Kershville, they got a brand new pumper. That's about $150,000. So these guys are staying active, doing a heck of a job. I mean, without them, it'd be very hard to do things without them. So my hat's off to them guys. I try to tell them at every fire how much we appreciate them, and they're very important to us. Last year, the county fire department, we had 417 calls for service. That's up just a little bit from the year before, but not a whole lot, about 20 more. Out of these 417 calls, 51 of them were structure fires. I'm pretty proud of this statistic. We saved 36 of them, which is right about a 70% save rate, and that's pretty much almost unheard of. I've been kind of, walking around like a peacock, just kind of, showing my feathers on that one. I think one thing that's helped that a bunch is over the last few years, our average response time has been 16 minutes. This past year, it was just under 13 minutes. So 30 minutes does make a big difference when it comes to a structure fire or any kind of a fire. So that's one of the big things one of the big improvements we've had. Also last year, this year, it's going into effect, actually February 1st of this year. The county fire department lowered our ISO rating to a 4-9, which is down from a 6-9. I was very proud of that. Very proud of that. That's almost unheard of in a rural area, so that a rural fire department. So that was very impressive, for me. Also, this past year, we got, actually it's going to go into effect this year, we got a grant ourselves, a Homeland Security grant, $40,000. We're going to buy SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, with that money. We also started a new fire reporting system with our department. The old one was very expensive and very complicated to use, and it really didn't meet our needs at all. So we went to a new fire reporting system. That way, actually, everybody in our department now can fill out fire reports, get on this system, and can use it. So it's a whole lot more efficient. We started using the MDTs again. That's been an incredible tool. I really thank Chris Israel and them for helping us get this going. The MDTs, we got CAD on it. We actually also have a pictometry on it. We can actually, while we're en route to a fire, if there's somebody riding with someone, IC1, they can get on the computer and bring up an address, and we can see the house before we ever get there, or where we're going. We can see the house kind of pre-planned before we get there. It comes in really handy at night because the pictures that we got with pictometry are daylight pictures, of course, and at night, a lot of things you just don't see. So we can kind of, note out propane tanks, swimming pool in the back, anything like that that might give us just a little bit of a head start when we arrive on scene. So that's an important deal. We have signed mutual aid agreements with several departments. Paint Lick is one of them. Of course, Bluegrass Army Depot. We're running with them like crazy. They're running with us at Station 2, giving us a lot of assistance. Of course, all the volunteers, we had a mutual aid agreement. We also started a arson task force team in Madison County. This was in cooperation with Kentucky State Police. So we're working on getting certain amount of people in each volunteer department, in our department, to actually know what we're doing as far as we're going in, seeing these fires, understand where they're starting. Because actually, by law, I have to investigate every fire. Fire chief has to investigate it, and we're just going a little further with it. We want to know what causes stuff, because one thing that we think of is if we can figure out what caused this fire, maybe we can stop the next one. And if we can stop the next one, perhaps that's a life that we saved. So that's one thing that we're looking at. We also passed the ordinance to put the stickers on for these manufactured beams and the lightweight trusses. We're putting the stickers on outside on the panel boxes so that when we arrive on scene, we can do a walk around, do our 360, see what we've got. We see a huge danger, so we can fight it a little different. And that goes hand in hand with Dwayne. We've been working real close with Dwayne, and I'm very impressed with the way Dwayne does his building codes, the way he enforces. He's making things way safer for us, making us have a chance to arrive on these fires and have a chance to save them. Thank you very much on that, Dwayne. But that's pretty well about it. Does anybody got any questions about what's going on? I tried to make it short, but I guess it did, was it?
You ever get any reimbursements for,
Well,
like the Forest Service did? They fined a guy because he started.
we can actually charge, but I tell you, going through the insurance company, I mean, they're mean. That's all I know to say about them. They'll get on you. I mean, I've called them up, had my talks with them. You can charge if that's something you guys would want to go further. I can push it.
Just wondering if if they're worried. Somebody, if there's arson, somebody set a fire. I mean, it's intentional, and we use our resources to go out. Is there any fines for something like that?
We've never fined anyone, but now in the past year we haven't convicted anybody of arson either. So I've not had to go down that road.
Everybody convicted of arson's in prison.
There you go. It's hard to make money in prison, right?
On these ISO ratings, all the residents in the county needs to be aware that it can cause their insurance premium to go down. I know mine doubled because
It was outside
the
the 5
ISO
mile.
rating went up. So, it'd be something good. I know probably insurance companies would tell you no, but if they can raise it, surely they can lower it. So, if you ain't aware of that, maybe you need to check in with the insurance company in these areas to get a lower premium.
My understanding is the ISO man wants to do a study on Waco and Kirksville this year. He already did Red Lick, and he did Union City and Whitehall. Of course, he did us also. But Kirksville and Waco is coming this year.
Any other questions for the chief?
Good report, Chief.
Good
Thank you very
report. Yeah. Okay, next on the agenda, Scott Tussey, our solid waste coordinator, doing his 2011 fourth quarter report.
Let me get set up here just a moment, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be reporting on our fourth quarter of 2011 and then give some final 2011 data too with this report. We're going to start off with road cleanup. Our fall final totals on the road cleanup was 282 miles. That netted 1,453 bags of litter and 14 tires. 2011 totals, we ended up cleaning up 760 miles of county roads, 4,209 bags of litter and trash, and 51 tires. And in some instances, we went out and retrieved tires off our roadsides. That's just from the organized cleanups. I couldn't even gamble on how many tires we've actually picked up from the roadsides last year. Loan of trucks, great service. Loan of trucks were set 50 times during fourth quarter of 2011, and looks like we ended up getting them 199 for the total in 2011. So hopefully next year we'll break the 200 mark and try to get some more cleanups done. NOVs issued 9 notice of violations in the fourth quarter and then ended up with 24 in 2011. I think that photo may be a rerun from my last report, but that was a nice roadside dump that we cleaned up over there on Oakley Wells. These little things have become more common. We cleaned up 2 this past quarter. It's just becoming a more common thing, but we get calls about it. We run out and clean it up, If there is information on who did it, I file notices of violation and follow up on it. Most of the time, it's a contractor dumping. No identification, no markings on it whatsoever. So, just got to be careful and clean them up. Large item pickup. During the fourth quarter of 2011, we came in with picking up 66 pieces of furniture, 6 appliance, 30 miscellaneous, 13 electronic scrap pickups, 25 recycle bin replacements, and 2 roadside dumps. That was 2 I was just previously mentioning. We cleaned up Hickory Lick and Old Wilderness Trail several times. For the total, we did 640 pickups in 2011. Those items, large item pickup is available for county residents outside of the cities. Just give us a call. It's usually about a 1-day turnaround. We come out and we'll pick up to 4 large items at any time. That's about all the storage space we've got in our trailer that we go out and do that. So, and I'd also like to touch on the fact that several instances lately we have had people who are moving out of apartments and moving out of places just assume that it's okay to pile it up on the curb. If you're gonna do that, give us a little bit of heads up and we can arrange 2 pickups to come clean that mess up so we don't have that piled up on our subdivision curbs and around Madison County. So the service is there, so we'll take care of it. Neighborhood recycling program ended up with 243,000 pounds during fourth quarter. Ended up 807,000 pounds for the year. That was up. I'm not sure the percentage on how much that was up, but turned out a good year. We expanded to 49 neighborhoods, and that's approximately, I think, 2,400 homes at this point. Future's looking bright. Livestock removal service. In December, we took over full control of the livestock removal service. Leroy and I had been working on it for the past year, and with the certain things that came about with the new phone system coming online and a new database system that Chris Israel has set up for tracking the dead animal removal service and logging it. We've switched over. All the calls are coming into my office now, 624-4709 for a dead animal removal. Looks like 314th for the fourth quarter. That's a good amount of livestock. 1,272 for the year. Amazing. If you average that, that's 24.46 cows, calves, and stuff removed from that's removing it from our drinking water. So, great service. Upcoming in 2012. Here in the next month or so, I'll be compiling our annual report due to the Kentucky Division of Waste Management. That's the real statistical data about how many pounds of garbage and how much is recycled and everything. It's due to the state. That's mandated due every year by March 1st. We'll be getting that taken care of. This is also the 5-year plan update span from 2012 to 2017. In this plan is a 5-year plan on how we're going to deal with waste management for the next 5 years here in Madison County. I did not do the previous plan. It was done by my predecessor, so we'll be looking at making it a lot better. And also, in the copy of my report, there is some training for judge executives and magisterial training, 4 hours credit, and on that there's 4 different offerings of that training that you all can attend. Be happy to have you there. Litter abatement grants, we'll keep applying for that. That's money that comes in from it's a gas tax that is paid to the Department of Transportation. It is then sent to Division of Waste Management. Waste Management sends it down to the counties for our litter abatement program. Looking at making some changes to the litter abatement program this year that'll help benefit our roads and make it a lot more, hopefully get a lot more litter off the streets. So I'll be reporting on what we're going to do to change that up, but we'll apply for it again this year.
When will you start that? Spring?
Yeah, in the spring when the weather breaks. Recycling grants. This year I'm going to fill out go for some recycling grants. The recycling grant comes from the $1.75 remediation fee of tonnage that comes from the landfill. Every ton that goes in the landfill goes to this fee, and then it is divvied out for recycling projects and household hazardous waste projects. We're going to go after, I hope to fill out a grant to purchase some recycling bins. That's our goal. Household hazardous waste grant comes from the same line item of the $1.75 remediation fee that comes from landfill tonnage. We'll go after that again for the citizens of Madison County, and we'll plan on having that the first Saturday in October. So, filling out the paperwork on both of those grants. Okay, seems like every year, every legislative session, I'm working on the Waste Tire Trust Fund. From my position in our statewide Solid Waste Association of being vice chair, we'll be going to work on the Waste Tire Trust Fund, trying to make it better again this legislative session. So it's going to be, hopefully the program will be renewed for another 2 years. From all indications from Waste Management Program, if it passes in the budget where it's supposed to be in the state budget, that I have heard that we will be tentatively, Bluegrass Area Development District will be scheduled for an amnesty this fall. So that's preliminary. So more details to follow on that.
Good deal.
Any questions?
What about your lawn truck? Where's it booked up to now?
Loaner Truck Larry is running middle of February. I think it's booked up to about the middle of February. And it'll start getting booked up quicker as soon as springtime rolls around.
Between that and the dead animal pickup, probably is 2 that pretty, they stay regular, don't they?
Yeah, that is, 25 calls a week about cows, and sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, and scheduling the loaner truck. So
I promise you, I won't call unless I have to.
I might add, Scott's been working for the last 2 or 3 months with some truck dealers, and we have been very much interested in purchasing our own Packer truck to do this recycling. We've looked at the numbers, and we feel like that we can pay for the truck, and it would give Scott an extra person to work with solid waste, as busy as they're getting, setting trucks, picking up and stuff, and usually, a lot of times you got somebody sick or something. So Scott's finally come with me with that, and I'll be meeting with the managers, showing them the numbers versus the leasing the truck and the driver and what it would bring in, because what we collect really goes towards that lease along with what we pay.
that is correct.
So I think it would be in everybody's best interest, and it would allow us to expand the service even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be talking with fiscal court, and hopefully I'll have something to come back with you all with at our next court meeting on purchasing a truck and hiring a driver, or hiring a full-time individual for solid waste.
That sounds great.
Before we do all that, can we have a workshop session where we all sit in and define on what the income's going to be and the overall picture of the solid waste program? I know you giving us a brief thing, but there's questions that we can ask, and maybe you can give us the input. But as you know, I know we're renting a truck now, and what all it consists of, I think it'd be a good workshop meeting for us all.
I don't have a problem with that. I'll schedule it before the next meeting.
I'll be ready.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, next is resolution authorizing the CAECO LaColte lease, and this was for the phone system for the clerk's office. It's a 1-year, 12-month lease, and we talked about this before, Resolution 1202. And it'll allow Kenny to go on and we can get everything online and updated, and feels like he can pay it off in a year, Kenny. So I'd like a motion to approve Resolution 1202 to authorize me to sign all documentation involving the CAECO lease for the clerk's office.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes, Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next on the agenda is second reading of a land use change for William Jennings, 150 Cameron Way in Berea, 7.85 acres, from UC4 General Commercial to UC7 Single Family Residential. We went in depth, Dwayne did, on our last meeting about this, and it's just really a mistake, and the old fellow's trying to get it back to where he can leave it to his kid, and really doesn't involve anything commercial or whatever. It's just taking care of his family before he leaves here. I think we answered all questions I asked over in Berea. Anybody here oppose or against or speak for it? If not, upon the recommendation of the Planning Commission, motion would be in order to approve second reading of land use change for the Cameron property.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. We've talked several times, and we've all been busy, but we've got over the holidays, so pass that down, Roger. We've been talking about home incarceration, and we've looked, and I don't know if everybody was here, but we talked about what Clark County's doing. Clark County tried some of these private vendors to do their work for them, and then got hooked up with a company, Stop LLC out of Texas, and they brought it in-house. They hired their own kind of director. He's a deputy sheriff. He works for the sheriff's department. That allows him, he runs the monitoring system. He hooks them up. Anytime a battery goes down, anybody takes a bracelet off, anytime that something happens, he gets a signal that comes directly to him. It's been a very, very successful program in Clark County, and matter of fact, I just met with the county judge, Henry Branham, last week, and he said that it's just been a godsend for them, getting people out of jail. And one good thing about bringing it in-house is that when you get somebody over there that really needs to be out but doesn't have the money, indigent, or just doesn't have the money but could get out and maybe go to work or do something, we have the ability, because we're paying $4.50 plus 75 cents for insurance and the hookup, so we could work with those people to get them out of jail. And that's the bottom line. Is Doug is overwhelmed. I mean, we've got a 192 bed facility, and Doug, what do you average, 70 or 80 most of the times over capacity? 260 this morning. Okay, so this is kind of a twofold. One, it's helping people, especially local people, that we can get out of jail and let them go back to work or go back to their family, do what they need to do. We can make it affordable for those individuals. The private companies charge quite a bit more. They charge quite a bit more for the original sign up on them. So I have contacted the company that Clark County works with. I talked to the vice president and then the salesman that represents this region, and he sent us a lease, and I'm handing it out, and I'm not asking you all to do anything today. I wanted you to take the lease and look at it. This is the identical lease that Clark County has. We get the same price as Clark County does, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this and give you the contract. And my personal feeling is we can provide a better service, and I think it'll pay for itself by letting Jerry and Doug work together and have a deputy sheriff and probably maybe bring a couple of part-time deputy sheriffs that have the training to come in and assist the individual that really takes care of all the monitoring. They put the bracelets on. But, you know, this thing could work into getting 40 or 50 people out of our jail, our overcrowded jail, and getting them back out in the workplace and back out with their families. I have, since we talked that, I've had 3 or 4 proposals from private companies. We have one company here in Richmond that does it, that would like to talk to us about it. But the difference is that they're selling a service where they do the monitoring, they put the bracelets on, they charge, they keep over and above everything that costs them. And it's hard, like, to let somebody that's indigent or didn't have the money to get out. It would be hard for us to help them. So this, bringing it in-house, allows us to monitor it closer. I mean, when a private company comes in, all they do is they alert the sheriff's department anyway. So if we've got somebody that alert goes directly to, and they can call them, see what happened, or go check on them, it gives the sheriff's deputy the opportunity. It's a waiver they sign when they're hooked on the bracelets, that if indeed they allow the sheriff's deputy to come in and check on them at any time, they can check their computers for things that they shouldn't be doing. So I'm trying to ask the advice of the court here. Mark and I have talked about it. Mark's kind of maybe so do we need to bid this out, but really we're not bidding out a service. All we're doing is entering into a contract to lease these bracelets and these monitoring systems from a company that's already doing business here.
Judge, I think the court can lease either by competitive bid or by private negotiations. I think the statutes allow you to do either one.
So I'd like you all to think about this, because Doug and the sheriff and Mark's been interested in this for 2 years. It'd be something that could really be a valuable tool to help us. And I really believe after a little while that it'll pay for itself. It'll pay for the deputy, of course it'll pay for the equipment. And we really don't, we can add $1 or $2, whatever Clark County does. But it makes it affordable for those individuals that qualify to be out of jail. Now this isn't for repeat offenders, anything like that. It's people that the court deems, Mark and the district judges deem would be okay in the outside environment other than jail. So I'd really like to go on and get this started. Company's ready to go. They will come in. Steve Noble over in Clark County has agreed to come over, work with us a week in training. The company, Stop LLC, has agreed to come up and send a trainer up here and spend some time working with whoever Jerry has and it's got to be somebody that's very computer literate, somebody that can keep up with this, and then train a couple others, because we'll have a lot more numbers than Clark County will, so one man probably can't do it. But we just feel like that, I do, and I've talked to the sheriff and the jailer, that Mark, the county attorney, and the district judges are willing to go along with it, I think, aren't they, Mark?
Yes, I believe so. Of course, they've not seen any particulars yet because we're not that far. But
yeah, we're not that.
And here's something else, and I don't want to put Doug on the spot and ask for any kind of statistics, but I think a great deal of the folks that are over there right now are probably pre-conviction. And of course, even on felony cases, the county does not get compensated on those until such time there's an actual conviction and a sentence. Of course, the community, from my perspective, the safety of the community has to be our number one objective. But if there are other ways that you can look at alternative forms of release and still make sure that the victims of crime in our community is protected, then I think that you can probably look at some of these bonds with the idea that home incarceration is possible. We can monitor them. We can make sure that they're not going into particular areas where they might pose a danger. And if so, you're not going to have as many people serving time on what to me looks to be state charges before they're convicted.
So it's a great tool for everybody involved. especially those individuals that really, I'm not gonna say they don't need to be in jail, but they could be out of jail. Contributing.
We're hoping that these folks are going to be productive while serving their sentence or while out on bond. So these are not the situations where there's not going to be a benefit to the community. If they're going to work, if they're going to go to school, if they're going to provide for their families, they need to be considered. Some folks just aren't going to do that, and those folks clearly need to set out their sentence in jail.
Understand.
There's some of them, it wouldn't matter what you done. You're exactly right.
Sure.
I agree with you. And
But this
Judge,
program's not for those individuals. Yeah.
and Judge, like you said, I mean, yeah, you could bid it out, but still, you gotta come right back to the sheriff because he's the only one can enforce it. So, I don't know why I agree with you.
I mean, I don't understand why we're paying and somebody's making all the money
Yeah, we don't get it.
and all they're doing is monitoring it and then turning right around GPS and then calling the sheriff and telling him there's a violation, then he's got to send a man out. If he's got a man there all the time that's hooking them up, he knows where they are, he tells them where they can go, where they can't go. They've got a circle. If they go to work, then that's included. They're allowed to go there, back and forth to work. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense going outside when we can do it in-house and, you know, provide a cheaper service for the inmates that are eligible to get out.
Are we gonna be able to keep the same personnel? I mean, we ain't gonna have to hire nobody.
Yeah, we'll have to hire. Yeah.
I would think it'd take more than one person.
Well,
It will.
24 hours.
We're looking at probably 1 and 2 part-time, Greg.
I know from Get Out on this program, we have right to charge them extra.
Oh, yeah, that's
It will compensate for
exactly,
officers.
exactly.
As long as I'm for it, as long as we got a good, officer to,
You have to take into account the savings, like the food.
Yeah.
What it costs to
We're not
house
gonna have
them.
those people in there. So we're spending each day, we're spending way more money. than it
30
costs
some
to get
dollars,
out on
isn't it?
that, on their food and their.
What, Doug, about $30.50, it's over $30.
Also, expensive medications,
If we've got,
and they're eligible for the program, it's kind of like a no-brainer to do it in-house and it's.
You think you got 50 people over there that you could turn loose?
I'm sure, if we get to looking, I'm sure.
This will all be subject to the district
Yeah.
court's approval, though.
Yeah, we won't have the last say so anyway.
Nobody's going to make the decision, other than the court's going to define that they can either be released on home incarceration or they can do his or her sentence on home incarceration. So it's still a judicial function. This is just an alternative sentence.
We probably could expand it, husband and wives, and probably make a little extra money.
I mean, Clark County's, it's an asset for them. I mean, it's,
You know, in Clark County has had this for a while, but Clark County's certainly not the only county. That's just very close to us.
Yeah.
I went to visit Fayette County 2 or 3 years ago and looked at something very similar to this that's actually run there, and it was amazing, the technology. I mean, if they were concerned that an individual was going to be around a particular person, they would draft an exclusionary zone. So it wouldn't be protecting them from not going anywhere other than particular spots. If there's a victim, they needed to keep a person away from. All types of technology made this very, very cost beneficial to Fayette and Clark, and I'm sure to many other counties too.
Police Department Corrections also has one
For their state facilities, state inmates.
so I'm gonna ask y'all to look at the contracts, ask questions. I'm gonna get a copy of what Clark County did as far as an ordinance to set this up, and then I'll get that to you, and then probably ask, next meeting, if y'all are comfortable with it, authorization to enter into a contract with this company and bring it in-house and let Jerry start, looking for something. He might have somebody in-house he could start out with, doing that over in the office.
And may very well just do this by resolution rather than by an ordinance.
So I just wanted to talk to you first, make you all aware of it, and then I'll probably come back next court meeting and ask permission to go on and get started on this.
One more thing, on the judge aspect of it, they are hearing about it, but as far as it would be more feasible if they sit and told us they was willing to support this
I feel very comfortable that they
You
will.
think they will? Okay.
And it-
Bill actually told me he'd feel more comfortable doing it if we done it in-house.
Okay.
He told me that.
And these folks still, would have to, well, a court can do something over my office's objection, but these are people that we're gonna look at as well too, and find whether or not that these would be appropriate folks to be on this program, because it's a privilege, it's a trust, and not everybody would be entitled to it. So it will be looked at, I think, very carefully prior to somebody being put on this list.
Well, I'm sure the judge is gonna look at it very hard, because it'd be an embarrassment to them if something did happen.
Well, and they would have to rely upon
Sure.
upon the parties a great deal, because judges aren't in the position to learn a whole lot unless someone tells them through, some type of sentencing offer or whatever. But I think it'd be a great program, something that I'm very excited about, will give us another tool, just so long as we keep the community safe. That's the primary goal. The cost savings are great, eliminating extra folks in the jail is great, but the bottom dollar is community safety, and so long as we're satisfied that's gonna be achieved, I think it's a great program.
How many units did we say we was gonna start out with?
Hmm?
How many units we gonna start out
Oh,
with?
well, we'll just have to wait and see what the courts determine. I mean, they'll take a look at it but
Yeah, we
I-
could get it as needed.
Yeah,
then.
and the
Okay.
company will provide as many as we need.
And if we don't use them, we just don't get billed for them.
We don't have to pay for them if we don't use them.
There's very, very little upfront. We're gonna need to get a couple of laptops or a PC or something, but there's very little as far as infrastructure cost here, and we're not bound by a particular number of inmates.
Okay, sounds good.
Company was out of Indiana, weren't they?
Texas.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anytime we can,
They
take
do.
a few out, I mean, if they qualify.
The federal programs.
You know what it's doing to you.
Well, that's what it is.
And then, and another thing, the sheriff's department, transporting these people back and forth and all this, that could possibly be a big savings to the sheriff's department too.
And hopefully at some point in time, I don't think we'd be able to do this initially, but it'd be nice to look at juveniles. Because you talking about transport, I mean, there's the primary expense probably to the sheriff's office is running these juveniles back and
Yeah,
forth.
we've got some claims in there on juveniles today.
And it's just getting worse.
Okay, you all think about that, and I'll be talking to you, and then maybe we can go on and take action on this at our next court meeting. Next on the agenda, and I'm going to go over this briefly, discussion with memorandum of understanding or agreement with Berea. We talked about this in our interlocal agreement meetings. We really, the county and Berea's in a bind too. We talked to Richmond about it, but they're using the property they've got out on Box Angle. We need a place to take brush, trees. We need a place for private individuals when they trim their trees, when they trim their brush. We can't pick that up. The only time that we pick up any kind of brush is after a storm, like the ice storm, which we work 12 or 13 weeks around the clock. So we don't really, we've got a place, a guy's farm down on Union City, Oakley Wells Road, that's allowed us to dump and push it back there. But that's a long haul, any place in South Berea and south end of Madison County, over in Gregg's area, Paint Lick, all the way to Kirksville, Poozy, and Valley View. So we've been discussing the idea of buying there are two huge haulers right across the line down off Dogwood, but they're in Garrett County. I was confused about where they were, but they're totally in Garrett County. So we've been discussing this. Berea, I think, is more than willing, but they want us to decide if we're interested in going in 50-50 on this. We'd need to spend a little bit of money getting an access road in. Probably plans would be to put a gate up and then open it up to commercial. They'd have to pay a little bit, but it would be free to all private individuals and free to the municipalities, the Berea and the Madison County. And open it like Wednesdays and then for the public on Fridays and Saturdays. Just provide some place where 85,000 people here, and 37,000 of them live in the unincorporated limits of the county. Provide us and them with a place to take the limbs and trees and trimmings and stuff. I've talked to Greg and Larry. They're the ones that really are involved the most because it would service their areas more. And I've talked to John Wilson, talked to him, matter of fact, Friday, the judge over in Garrett County. And John said that he didn't have a problem, but we looked it up on GPS, but he wanted to get with his magistrate that's in that district, go down, and he promised me he'd go down this week, maybe go down with Leroy and look at it, and then come back and see if indeed they were okay with it. Having it's these two huge haulers that really isn't any good for anything. And it's 224 acres, and we can get it for a good price. So that's where we are, but I've talked to Greg and the court, and would like to get with John Wilson this week and his magistrate and make sure that the Garrett County officials would be okay with it. And then this is something else, once I get a statement from them, then we'd come back and address the issue a little bit more. But I could let Leroy tell you, I mean, I think we need to wait to make sure that Garrett County officials are okay with it. But it's something that's greatly needed, and it would last for 200 years. It'd be a place that we could use from now on. So not only for county government and the city of Berea, but private individuals and companies. We've got a lot of commercial companies that go in and cut trees, and they really don't have any place to take it. They ship it up and pile it up, or as we would have to do, we'd have to haul it to Irvin and pay a dump fee at the landfill, which would be astronomical as far as taxpayers' dollars. So something that we've talked about. Richmond, not interested. I think Berea is very much interested in a partnership. So I'd like to just kind of table this today, talk to Garrett County officials, and then come back at the next meeting with something to put on the table. If that's okay with everybody.
Well, I think it's a win-win situation for the county. I mean, ask Leroy, I mean, you know, if you're picking up stuff down in Greg's area and or my area that far, you know how much it's costing to take it where you're taking it now. And this is just another way we can work with the city. I mean, it's going to help the city of Berea also. I mean, it's just not for the county, but if you can make it free to the residents of the county, they're going to haul it themselves. And now, if they haul it, they got to take it to Estill County and got to pay. So it's a win-win.
It's a win, and it's something that would last from now on. But like I said,
we've looked for how long, Judge?
About ever since I've been here.
Yeah, and still.
We're still using the one on Union City, though, aren't we?
Yes. It's just got to the point, the expense of the rest of the county going all the way to one spot.
Yeah, it's not very feasible. People in my district and Greg's district, and they can't use it anyway. We're the only
Private
ones.
people can't use it, it's just the county.
Yeah.
And Robert Murphy's been very kind to let us use it, probably saved us,
$1 million.
yeah, at least. So that's something, again, I have a little more information on, and I'll bring back to the court the next meeting. The judge's report, Carl, he is not here today. He's in a teleconference meeting with Washington. He was supposed to go to Washington, and they had some stuff come up. But, you know, if you saw the state of the county, and I brag on each and every one of our department heads, our supervisors, our staff, you know, our employees, and I continue to say that we're the very best. We provide the very best services, continue to upgrade of any county in the state. And I got a letter I want to read to you all, and I got it yesterday is the reason I'm just handing it out, from John Finn. He's with FEMA in Atlanta. It said, "Dear Judge Clark, I'm writing you to ensure that you are aware of the exemplary performance of the Madison County Emergency Management Agency during the CSEP exercise on October the 11th, 2011. In addition to my role as the lead evaluator for Madison County during the exercise, I also had the responsibility for editing the final exercise report. A consistent theme runs through the Madison County observations. Carl Richards ensures that his staff continually receives training and then test readiness through drills and exercises. During the 2011 BGAD exercise, Carl employed 2 new systems that he and his staff had trained on but had not yet tested during an exercise or live incident. The employment of the Everbridge call-down system and the SmartBoard system during the exercise resulted in significantly positive results and commendations from the evaluation team. Most EMA directors would not have the courage to employ untried systems during an evaluated annual exercise. However, Carl Richards had the confidence in the capability of the team he's recruited, trained, and leads. I don't offer any comments lightly or without substantial experiential foundation. In my 25 years of experience, I've evaluated countless agencies. I'm a master exercise practitioner, and I'm currently completing a doctorate in emergency management. When I state that the staff of Madison County EMA is the most prepared group I've ever worked with, it is with professional certainty. If I were a resident of Madison County, I would sleep very well at night knowing that Carl Richards and his staff are on the job. And I think that's very commendable and something very special to speak of just one of the departments that we have here. And he wrote that on his own. I mean, he had a lot of things to do. State of Berea address is January 26th over at the Folk Center. Mayor Conley will be telling, and that's with the League of Women Voters, telling everybody what's going on. It's $15. And our next interlocal governmental elected officials meeting will be February 16th at the Extension Office. And as always, it'll be advertised in the paper, and it will consist of the three governments and anybody else that would like to come. It's I think it's good. We meet every 2 months, and we talk about things, and not a whole lot of things like this, the brush land for the brush and stuff. Some things have come out, and we're talking about other things that we can do to upgrade services and really combine our resources to provide better services for the residents of the county. So that will be February 16th, and like I said, everybody's invited. It will be advertised in the paper. That's all I have. And the judge report. Yes, sir, Mark.
Are we gonna look at Doug's thing today before you get to the end?
Oh, I'm sorry. Doug, I'm sorry. I just amended it and wrote it across the top. Before I get into that, after that, Doug, would you like to come up and talk to us a little bit about what you're proposing as far as your policies and procedures? I'm sorry. Thank you, Mark.
Man, don't worry about either. Just the policy and procedure manual that we have to use over to jail. We got together and we really didn't change a whole lot from what Ronnie DeVere had. Just a couple areas in it. Mark and I and William Sweat, one of my officers, we got together and worked on it and got with Mark and it seemed to be good. Yeah, like I said,
It certainly complies with all the statutory and regulatory requirements that are on the detention center. Again, this is the same basic framework that's been in effect for many years.
yes, yes.
I think there were a few good amendments to it, but by and large, it's the same document, and it's a good document in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like everything else with new federal guidelines every day and new state guidelines every day,
Yes.
you have to continue. It's a continuous deal, keeping the thing updated. I think you all have had a chance to look at those, as have I and Mark. If there are no questions, motion be in order to approve the detention center policies and procedures update.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes, Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Now we got comments from department heads. Have anybody? Kind of covered them all today. Anybody? Okay. Leroy, you want to come up and talk to us a little bit about how important the trash thing is, or how expensive it would be if we didn't have it? Yeah.
We've been hauling down there on Oakley Wells for about 15 years. You know, it's saved us a lot of money. But the only one that can haul down there is just the county. You know, he won't let individual people haul. And we have calls every day from people wanting to either pick it up, and when we tell them we can't pick it up, they want somewhere to take it. You know, the only place we can tell them we can take it to the landfill. It would be a big help. And like Willie and them, and everything they haul, they've got to haul it all the way from Berea or Kirksville, wherever they pick it up at, all the way down there. It'd save us a whole lot of money in time and fuel and.
It'd probably save us a lot of money, in two areas that I have. They just keep dumping it out, the brush and stuff, 'cause they don't have a place to take it down there off Red Lick. I mean, y'all down there every week.
Well, only the other thing we gotta look at, if we ever have another ice storm, it'll probably happen, I don't know when, but we gotta have somewhere to take it. That last time we had that, and I got 2 places permitted to take it, but I don't think we'll ever get that done anymore. They're tightening down on that, and we had to burn it, and they don't like that. Scott kinda helped me with that a whole lot. He knew that boy, went to college with him. I don't think if he hadn't been with that, we probably wouldn't have got it approved.
You just can't burn it, so appreciate Leroy, I just want to.
You can't pick trash, you can burn it on your own property, but that's where I had to get that other permitted. If you take it off your property, you gotta get it permitted through our quality control to burn it. And I don't think we'll ever get that done anymore.
Well, it took a year and a half to.
Yep, I just last year got it closed out,
Well, I think if you had a place, people's gonna use it, and, that's gonna free you all up some, so.
It'd save a whole lot of money on fuel and trucking, and the only other thing I got, Judge, we're finishing up the dog pound today, Keith, we're winding it up.
Really?
Be ready, yeah.
Good deal. Substantial savings to the taxpayers.
Yeah. Has anybody got any questions? Thank you.
Weather has been being very cooperative with us this year.
We're ready to tear another bridge down.
Oh, okay, comments from magistrates, Greg?
I guess my same statement I said last week. In a sense, had the thought when I got home, I said, I need to apologize to the State Department, but getting out and picking up the road, but I just found out they picked up about 2 miles there by the house and left the rest of it. So, I still like to see us. I know we ain't the State Department, and I know we can't rule the State Department, but I'm sure everybody in here drives on a state road, and it's a shame that our state roads look like, people don't care, just throw their trash out. Both sides are covered, and, I know in that program we've got, if they can't get out and pick up our state roads, I think we need to look at maybe bringing our van back and getting us somebody and doing it ourselves. Because, it's just it's benefiting the city, no doubt, the bypasses around, but we need something to make our counties look better, and I would think the State Department would want. I've been thinking about this week calling all the representatives and senators, and so try to get something moved on that. But it's just bad that you drive down any of the state roads. It ain't just my district, it's in anybody's district, and just see the garbage laying on the sides. And if it was some personal property, we'd be writing them fines. And so maybe Dwayne needs to look writing state fine for. And I know it. I'm just aggravating.
Get right on that once, Dwayne.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I have. I know I'm just jawing about it.
The program, we just initiated it 2 or 3 months ago, and like I said, they had the interchanges they wanted to clean up first. But I think every day that weather allows them to, I think they're out and they understand the importance. But I think they're trying, instead of just picking up one whole road, they're trying to go around and get some of the worst areas. I'd love to see them in Jackson Holler, but, they'll eventually get there. But, there are a lot of roads out there. But as far as Madison County picking up state highways,
I don't know.
We can't do that. Okay, Roger?
Do I have anything, Jay?
Bill Ray?
Just, the 2 departments that reported today, the fire department and solid waste, they provide a good service to the community at a good value, and you've said that many times. They are very efficient, and I'm confident that is the case. It costs about $1 million to run the fire department, and it's services for the community. That's what government's for. $350,000 for solid waste management, and we're doing a lot to help the community. So I, Judge, you brag on, but I'm bragging on too, because I'm really confident that they're doing good with the money that they have.
Thank you, Bill Ray. Larry?
Well, when you gonna compliment somebody, I'm gonna compliment the road department. As much rain as we had, and all these tiles are full of leaves. And it's, like yesterday, I had 3 or 4 calls, and they were Johnny on the spot, like they always are, and I just wanna thank them for the job they do, and no more manpower than we have. We've had a little extra time this year because we haven't had any snow, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna get any. So I guess you just let them rest up, 'cause you might as well get ready for it. It's coming. But I want to thank the road department. Leroy, you all do a good job. Thank you. That's all I have, Judge. Just glad to be here.
Thank you, Larry. Glad to have you. Comments from the audience? Anybody? Would you like to come up?
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you. Thank you, everyone who sits here, for the job that you do, for your watchfulness, and for the department heads. Every time I come in, I learn more about our services, and it really does make me happy to hear about the efficiencies that are being built in. I guess we'll soon be #1 in keeping taxes down in Kentucky, which would make every taxpayer thrilled with this court. The only concerns I have remaining, is Scott still here? Are we working still to get recycling for our glass? How is that?
Where I'm working, it's actually under the city of Richmond's supervision.
Mm-hmm.
They have decided to discontinue painting glass.
Yes.
But I believe they are working, I'm not gonna comment for them, but I believe they are working on a situation to be able to change that. So, to be honest with you, I have no,
You don't have a lot of input with that, is what you're saying?
that is correct.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I'm Debbie Secchio. Some of you do know me, and to the audience that doesn't, I live outside of the city limits by Curtis Pike, and I do appreciate all the services, and especially when I can tell people in our development, my husband's a president of an HOA, when he can get those services to be clear to people, that they actually know what they have, especially new people coming in, it's really helpful. I just want to return to a subject that my magistrate has been really helpful with in getting me information about, but the audit from 2010, I may have missed something. Kenny, maybe you can help me with that. I know we're going to quarterly reports from the office now. I worked in the banking industry, so I'm kind of a stickler about money, and how even though you might love a person and think they're the greatest person that you know, that they might not be real savvy with doing checks and balances on money, and you have a lot of employees. How are we going to make those checks and balances work better here, so that we don't have another repeat of an audit that we won't like?
Well, the checks and balances, are you talking about daily checks and balances between our office
Sure.
and?
Things like money coming in and
Right,
getting
that's-
it deposited and all those things that were cited that caused us fines.
Right, that's in our internal procedures that we
Yes.
take care of those
Mhm.
things. What I'll be reporting here are the larger numbers coming in and going out
Mhm.
to make sure that we're not, that I report to the court that if we see a downturn or we see that we're headed for problems, that my term is not going to end in a positive way. That way they know ahead of time. Before, there was no reporting between the two, and they didn't know where we were until the end of the term, not the end of the year,
Yes.
the end of the 4-year
I
term.
realize that.
So we're reporting quarterly. If you look at the 4-year term, quarterly is reporting pretty often.
Mhm.
I mean, I can provide monthly reports to them, whatever they need.
Right.
But our internal procedures
Are different now.
are different now from day one from what they were then.
Now, does that mean that when money comes in or goes out, there's more than one initial to it, like more,
Yes, absolutely.
2-3
yes.
sets of eyes
Yeah.
as it passes on?
We have
And then
separation
it's,
we have separation of duties. And the
Uh-huh.
people that reconcile all those reports
Mhm.
don't touch the money front end. So you don't
Mhm.
have people on both
Mhm.
ends of the transaction controlling it. And then I initial all the reports and sign all the reports that go out.
as I suspected you would do. So it is evolved.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Very well. Thank you so much, Kenny. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Debbie. Anybody else from the audience like to come up? Not a motion would be in order to approve the claims and transfers.
So move.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Thank everybody for coming in. We appreciate it. And a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor?
Yes.